Bad slide formatting can make your work look sloppy and unprofessional, and can leave your reader confused and disengaged. As a former McKinsey consultant who made and fixed thousands of slides, I'm happy to share the 6 most common mistakes to avoid when making slides. Stay tuned for examples of times even McKinsey and BCG made these mistakes. Sorry BCG, I used more of your examples this time round. Next time I'll do more McKinsey and Bain. The goal of good slide making is to reduce visual distraction so that the focus is on the message of the slide. Imagine there are 2 clothing stores that sell exactly the same clothes for the same price. One is beautifully organized and neat, the other is chaotic, crowded, unorganized, and messy. Which one would you choose to spend time in? The organized one, right? This is why slide formatting matters. The human brain likes structure and predictability. The first mistake to avoid is something called jittering. If we keep to our shopping metaphor, jittering is like walking down the aisles of a store, but every aisle is a different width or misaligned from the other. Annoying, right? Jittering is where you have headings, tables, or frameworks in different locations from page to page, and when you scroll through the pages like this, everything appears to jump around. Without jittering, look how much more effective this agenda tracker is. This is an example of a time McKinsey had jittering in their presentation. See how the titles jump around from page to page? One way to reduce jittering is to copy the first version of an object onto the next slide using Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-V to paste, and it will end up in the exact same location on both pages. Once you've pasted it onto the new page, then you can edit it. Next is lack of alignment or uneven distribution. In our shopping example, this is again like having the aisles being different lengths and widths. The human brain likes order, so when things seem out of place or off balance, the brain focuses on the chaos and what's wrong instead of the message. Here is an exaggerated version to make the point. I intentionally messed up this BCG slide so we can then fix it up. First, let's align these icons to the top. The shortcut for this on PC is to simply tap Alt-H-G-A-T. Now we need to evenly distribute the columns. I can do this by tapping Alt-H-G-A-H. See what a difference this alignment makes? If you are interested in more slide making keyboard shortcuts like this, check out my favorite shortcuts download in the description below and watch this video next. Here is a misaligned slide from BCG. You can see the boxes are all different distances apart and not aligned well. Here is a cleaned up version of the slide with consistent alignment and distribution, and you can see how much better this looks. Next up is inconsistent use of color. Imagine there is a sale in the clothing store and you see a sign up that says all t-shirts with a red dot are 50% off. So your brain is on the lookout for these red dots. Then you see another sign that says anything with a red dot is 30% off. Now you're confused. Does the red dot mean 30% off or 50% off? It's the same with slides. The human brain will learn what color means, so use it to make your content more understandable. If you use color to highlight a theme or a point, be sure to keep that color going with everything regarding that theme. On this BCG slide, you can see 5 strategic imperatives color-coded. So this says that a deep dive into each imperative is likely coming. This was an interesting choice of colors. If I were to make a slide like this, I'd use a more cohesive color scheme. But anyway, if I'm interested in learning more about the second point, I will pay attention to this dark green color associated with that. You can see here in the following 2 deep dive pages that they're color coded to match that high level page. If you wanted to take the colors coding even further and make it more obvious, you can make the format of the imperative boxes on the deep dive pages exactly the same as it was on that high level page, like this. This is much better, but it does violate another rule, and that is spilling into the margins. Spilling into the margins is like having racks of clothes where there shouldn't be racks of clothes, like outside the store or blocking the fire escapes. White space is really important in slide making to give the eyes a visual break. One way to add white space and reduce jittering is by making sure all content stays out of this no-fly zone. Basically, you should have no content to the left of your title and a similarly sized no-fly zone to the right of your slide and at the bottom. This is another BCG example that makes this mistake. See how much of it spills into the no-fly zone? This slide also makes another mistake. It is really crowded. Before we fix this slide, please take a second to like and subscribe if you haven't. If making high-impact slides faster is important to you, then sign up for my Slide Making Mastery course. You can find the sign up and other helpful downloads like my favorite slide templates and keyboard shortcuts in the video description below. It can be tempting to just put everything on a single slide with very small font, but this is another form of visual clutter and it becomes overwhelming for the reader, so they stop paying attention. For a slide like this, split the content onto 2 pages like this. Then resize and align everything so that nothing overflows into the no-fly zone. Remember, if your slide is looking too crowded, see if your slide can be split across multiple pages. Double check that you only have one main message per slide and only the essentials to support that message remaining on the slide. Use bullet points instead of full sentences, and use visuals like images or charts to replace words or tables where possible. Sometimes visuals can become distracting, like with this slide. Here I added a transparent white rectangle over the image and changed the font color so it's more readable. On this slide, I just removed the image altogether, which also works well. Sometimes it's more beneficial to take away from a page than to add to it. This slide from McKinsey is very crowded and difficult to read, but it also demonstrates our last mistake, which is being unstructured. Unstructured slides are overwhelming and the reader is likely to completely give up reading the slide or unintentionally walking away with an incorrect message because they picked up just a few pieces of information instead of reading the whole slide and getting the whole picture. Communication frameworks are the guardrails that help lead the reader through an argument or message in the way that you intend. A slide like this would be easier to read if I used a format like this with main messages in the boxes and supporting evidence to the right. And it could also work in something like a timeline format like this. Both these templates can be found in my free slide template deck below, so be sure to download them. There are 2 foundational frameworks for making structured slides. The first is the Situation Complication Resolution Framework, where you state the situation as it stands, then you state what issues or opportunities arise from a situation, and then you state ways to get to a better future state. The second is the pyramid principle, which states the main message up front and then it's backed up with supporting arguments. If you're interested in a deep dive on both of these frameworks, check out this video next. That's it for this video. Take a look at the helpful downloads and resources in the description. I have plenty of other videos on slide making, so if you are looking to build a skill, take a look at that playlist. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.